Welcome to this too. I'm your host, Timothy. Thank you for joining today. Today I want to talk about, a continuation of what last week was about. Taking small steps to turn the corner, and before we go into that, I just want to do the usual disclaimer. So, in no way, shape, or form am I a medical or qualified as a medical or psychiatric therapist in any way, shape, or form. I'm not in any way or capacity providing any kind of diagnosis for anyone. This is purely just me speaking about my journey and how I am trying to navigate my experience and the things that have happened and how I am trying to overcome them and stay in a positive mindset and hopefully give some kind of platform, but also hopefully if you're going through something, you might identify with what I'm saying and perhaps find something in it that helps you. So, with that being said, let's continue with the episode. And again, whatever you're going through, good or bad, just remember that this too shall pass. So, I had attended an event last week. Well, it's not really an event, it's a regular thing on a Thursday night. And again, please check out the Habit and Cult. It's a really nice experience if you want to be part of a very welcoming and outgoing community. It's all about fun and connection, and it's quite an experience, and I really want to go again soon and participate. But running in those, getting a chance to test the Under Armour shoes, and it was the elite top of the range ones. I'll link the page from the website in the episode links in the description, so you can check out the shoes. And what that shoe forced me to do was to change my stride as I was running, and I had to get used to it. And it really pushes you through your foot striking and rolling forward in that motion, in terms of going into the next step. It really accelerates that and pushes you forward. And I just had to modify my stride and take shorter steps. And I found that I was able to run far more economically and a lot smoother. And I felt like the shoes really helped me propel forward and put in a decent performance. I have not done 6Ks in a while. I normally, as part of my own physical journey to reclaim myself and rebuild myself, I'm running as part of my physical goals. I want to shed as much body fat, unhealthy body fat, as I can and get down to a really good shape. And that's one of the goals, and it's something that I'm doing as part of my taking small steps. So working out every day, running and doing and building the discipline of something every day is one of the small steps that I'm doing to keep myself going. It also gives you a bit of a mental reprieve when you're exerting yourself or you're out running. You don't have, or you can mope, but it's self-defeating because you really don't get as much out of the moment. But I find that I'm able to push the negative aside, and I'm able to envisage and I don't want to say manifest, but I can see and I try and visualize positive moments and success coming to me, because if you've been through something that's traumatic and you've been abused in any way, you don't feel deserving of success or certain things because of how you have been stripped of your identity in certain ways. So it's difficult to see positives, but taking those daily steps, those small steps of working out, I'm also using, and I don't advocate for this, but I don't really have much in terms of options and resources. So I've kind of built my own program using books that I've found from experts, and I'm doing like daily 30 to 40 minute reflective session to try and change my mindset about how I feel and think about myself and what I've experienced, and how I'm able to cut ties with the past in an effective manner that isn't self-harming, that doesn't focus on anger and the negative emotions, because that just means that you keeping yourself tied to that trauma for so much longer. So I'm really trying to work on acceptance and adaptability, because you can't change what happened as much as you want to hold on. Holding on is only going to tire you and hurt you even more. So acceptance is really difficult, especially for me with my situation. It's been difficult, but it is something that is slowly I'm coming to terms with and slowly being able to work through. It's not an easy journey, but again, these small steps, the daily work of reflection, looking at actual behavior and outcomes and conversations, and not rumination, not wishful thinking, not thinking about, if only I had done this, or even just dwelling on all the uncertainties and the questions that you have in your head about why and when, or what could I have done to have changed things. It serves absolutely no purpose anymore, because all you are doing is trying to figure out something that's not going to change the outcome in any way, shape, or form. So the only thing that really serves you in that moment is to let it go and to move on. And the only way that you can really do that without it coming back and continuously being an issue in your life is to accept what has happened, accept what your part is, accept what the future is going to hold. And again, I can only speak from my situation. And then from there, how do I want to deal with that? How do I want my future now that I get to build and reshape? How do I want that to look? Do I want it to be something that is drowning in despair and self-loathing and a victim's mentality? Or do I want to use this as fuel and rise up and show that I'm so much more than what I was before? You can use the opportunity, you can use what has happened and build something out of it. It's partly why I'm trying to do this podcast, because I want to take what has happened to me and build something positive, so that maybe I can help someone else out there. Maybe there's someone that hears me and what I have to say and it resonates. Because I'd love to build this into a community where we as guys could meet up and also offer one another support through the platform that I would love to build. So I do hope that what I'm saying helps you in some way, shape, or form, and it serves you, and it helps you to be positive about your life. Because sometimes when you are coming out of something and it's really difficult to work through, it's hard to see a bright future. It's hard to see something positive. And believe me, I'm really at that point right now where things feel very bleak and very hard, but knowing that if I keep trying, I'll get to see an opportunity. I'll give myself the chance to have an opportunity. If I give up and I do the worst thing to myself, then there'll never be anything more than that, and that will be my story. And that would be that would be something that I'm passing on to my child, and that's not something I want to give her. I want my child to see that her father has gone through something difficult, but he has survived it because he wasn't going to allow it to defeat him, and he was going to make something out of this situation. And that's the kind of lessons and resilience that I want to teach her, because there are going to be so many difficult days ahead for me. But it's how I face them, it's how I choose to see what's coming, and how I choose to see myself that is most important, and how I speak to myself. So taking those tiny steps, again, to go back to that, is what's going to keep you going. Building the discipline on a daily basis. Get up, exercise, because that helps good things, good hormones. You have energy to take on the day. You have achieved something already, and the earlier you do it in the morning, the better. That gives you a sense of accomplishment, because while other people are sleeping, you're doing something. If you've got a family and you've got kids, it frees you up for the rest of your day. You can go to work, and when you come home, you don't have to squeeze in gym and then squeeze your family in. You've taken care of yourself, you've prioritized yourself, and now what is left of you is for you to give to them fully, without being distracted, without thinking of anything else and worrying about time. So you can be fully present, doing the reflective work, the journaling, and the same thing goes for when you're working out, is to remind yourself of the positives and positive things that you are capable of, because it's important that you speak to yourself in a positive light and see yourself in a positive light, because it sounds like a cliche to say that you're your own worst critic and your harshest critic, but it's the absolute truth, and the words that you repeat to yourself become the words that live in you and come, and when you have very difficult moments, as I have experienced, those are the words that come back and haunt you and plague you. And I don't want to live like that anymore, and I want to be something positive for my kid. I want to be an inspiration to my daughter. I don't want her to see that I have that depression has beat me. And the only way to do that is to show up for myself every day, because no one else is going to. No one else is going to take those steps for me. So you have to keep taking those steps for yourself. You have to keep showing up for yourself. And over time, taking those steps becomes easier and easier. I can't profess that it is easy yet, but I know one thing is that if you keep doing something and you can change the way you feel about yourself, it affects you. I've already felt the difference. I'm no way, in any way, shape or form, close to achieving anything yet, but I can feel the difference that it makes, just thinking of yourself as a survivor as opposed to a victim of your circumstances. Because if you are still here and you are still pushing and trying to do something, then you have survived your worst days. And that is something to be proud of. And that is something that I'm telling myself. And so I'm trying to celebrate the small wins, the small things that keep you going and keep you focused and just make you feel okay about yourself. Because it's so important that you don't get down on yourself. Because you are the one person that can't afford to do that. Other people can misunderstand you and have the assumptions, but you can't allow negativity to govern how you feel and speak to yourself. You just can't do that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me for another episode. again, no matter what the circumstances or situation in life, whatever you are going through, just remember that this too shall pass.